Introduction: The inner battle of human nature. Why do we feel torn between what we want and what we know is right? Why does part of us crave pleasure, while another seeks truth and virtue? Over 2,000 years ago, Plato, the great Athenian philosopher, offered one of the most profound answers in history. He proposed that the human soul is not a single, unified force, but a battlefield of three competing powers. In his masterpiece, The Republic, Plato described the soul as tripartite, divided into reason, spirit, and appetite. He compared it to a charioteer driving two horses, one noble and disciplined, the other wild and rebellious. The charioteer represents reason, the noble horse is spirit, and the unruly one is appetite. Life's challenge, Plato said, is to keep the chariot steady, to let reason guide while balancing emotion and desire. It was more than a metaphor. It was the first psychological model of the human mind, one that still shapes how we think about ourselves today. 1. The three parts of the soul. Plato believed the soul was the true self, the essence that makes us human. He divided it into three parts, each with its own purpose, strength, and temptation. 1. Reason, the seeker of truth. At the top stands reason, the rational thinking part of us. It seeks knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Reason allows us to weigh evidence, to plan, and to choose the good over the merely pleasurable. It's the philosopher within, the quiet voice asking, what is true? What is right? When reason leads, our lives are ordered and wise. When it's ignored, confusion reigns, and we become ruled by passion and impulse. 2. Spirit, the fire of emotion. Next comes spirit, or thymos, the seat of courage, pride, anger, and ambition. Spirit gives us drive. It makes us fight for justice, stand up for ourselves, and pursue honor. Without spirit, we'd lack motivation or dignity. But if spirit overpowers reason, anger turns into aggression and pride into arrogance. Plato saw spirit as the loyal ally of reason. When trained, it defends the rational part of the soul against the excesses of desire. 3. Appetite, the realm of desire. Finally, there is appetite, the base and bodily part of the soul. It craves pleasure, food, sex, wealth, and comfort. It's not evil by nature, it sustains life. But unchecked, it becomes insatiable. Appetite is never satisfied, it always wants more. For Plato, virtue means harmony. Reason must rule, spirit must support it, and appetite must obey. When this order is reversed, the soul becomes divided and unjust, like a city in civil war. 2. The soul as a city. Plato loved analogies, and his most famous one compares the soul to a city. In a well-ordered city, every class performs its role. The rulers, philosophers, represent reason. The soldiers represent spirit. The workers, farmers, merchants, artisans represent appetite. A just city, like a just person, exists when each part fulfills its role in balance. If merchants rule, greed dominates. If soldiers rule, ambition turns violent. Only when philosophers rule, when wisdom governs, can harmony exist. Plato's political vision mirrors his psychology. The just city is a reflection of the just soul, each part performing its purpose, guided by truth and virtue. 3. The war within. What makes Plato's model so timeless is how vividly it captures inner conflict. Every human being, he said, feels torn between competing voices. You know you should study, but you scroll through your phone. You want to forgive, but your pride resists. You crave peace, yet chase pleasure. That struggle, between what you know, what you feel, and what you want, is the drama of the tripartite soul. Plato saw this as the root of moral life. To be just, a person must bring their soul into order, reason governing spirit and appetite like a wise ruler balancing citizens' needs. Modern psychology echoes this idea. Freud's theory of the id, ego, and superego mirrors Plato's structure. The id is appetite, raw instinct. The ego is reason, reality-based control. The superego is spirit, our sense of duty and pride. Plato's intuition, centuries before Freud, mapped the same terrain, the divided self seeking unity. 4. Virtue as harmony. For Plato, the goal of life wasn't pleasure or power, it was harmony. Each part of the soul has its own virtue. Reason's virtue is wisdom. Spirit's virtue is courage. Appetite's virtue is temperance, moderation in desire. When these virtues work together, the result is justice, the harmony of the soul. Justice, in this sense, is not just social fairness. It's inner balance. A person is just when each part of their soul does its proper job. Injustice arises when desire or anger overthrow reason's command. For Plato, this harmony was the key to happiness, not in the fleeting sense, but in the deep sense of a life well lived. 5. The chariot of the soul. In another of his dialogues, Phaedrus, Plato turned philosophy into poetry. He compared the soul to a charioteer trying to control two horses. The charioteer is reason, the guide who seeks truth. One horse, noble and white, represents spirit, courageous and disciplined. The other, dark and unruly, represents appetite, wild, passionate, and greedy. If the charioteer can master both, the soul soars toward the divine. If he fails, the chariot crashes into chaos. This image beautifully captures human life, the tension between aspiration and temptation. Our daily task, Plato says, is not to kill the horses, but to guide them, to align emotion and desire with wisdom. 6. True freedom, mastering the self. In modern times, freedom often means doing whatever we want, but to Plato, true freedom meant self-mastery. A person ruled by passion isn't free. They're a slave to their desires. Only when reason governs can we act according to our true nature. This idea would shape centuries of thought. Stoic philosophers later taught that peace comes from ruling one's passions. Christian theologians saw self-control as divine order within the soul. Even modern self-discipline, mindfulness, and emotional intelligence trace back to Plato's vision. Control without repression, balance without denial. 7. Plato's psychology in modern life. Plato's model might be ancient, but we live it every day. When you resist junk food, reason rules appetite. When you channel anger into action, spirit serves reason. When you pursue truth over popularity, harmony prevails. But modern life constantly disrupts this order. Consumer culture feeds appetite, urging us to buy, eat, and indulge. Social media inflates spirit, driving pride, envy, and outrage. Meanwhile, reason struggles to lead, drowned in distraction. In this chaos, Plato's message feels prophetic. He warned that when lower desires rule, both individuals and societies collapse. Harmony, he said, begins within. To fix the world, we must first govern the republic inside ourselves. 8. The evolution of Plato's idea. Plato's tripartite soul became one of philosophy's most influential ideas. His student Aristotle refined it, linking reason to virtue and ethics. Later, the Stoics reinterpreted it as self-mastery. Augustine Christianized it, turning the soul's struggle into a battle between divine will and human temptation. Even today, neuroscience reflects Plato's vision. The human brain divides into systems, much like his three parts. The prefrontal cortex governs logic and planning, reason. The limbic system drives emotion and motivation, spirit. The brain stem and hypothalamus control instinct and desire, appetite. Plato didn't have science, but his intuition about human psychology was astonishingly accurate. He grasped that we are not one voice, but many, and that wisdom lies in their harmony. 9. The inner republic. Imagine your soul as a small republic. Reason is the philosopher king, wise and patient. Spirit is the soldier, brave and loyal. Appetite is the common citizen, productive but easily swayed. If the citizens riot or the soldiers rebel, chaos reigns. If the philosopher king rules wisely, peace endures. This is Plato's enduring metaphor for the human condition. Every decision, every moral choice is a miniature act of governance. When we lie, lash out, or overindulge, it's a coup within the soul. When we act with discipline and understanding, we restore justice to our inner state. 10. The enduring relevance. Plato's tripartite soul continues to speak to us because it reflects an eternal truth. We are divided creatures, part animal, part hero, part sage. And the balance between them defines who we become. It's not about suppressing desire or emotion, it's about directing them. Reason without spirit is cold and lifeless. Spirit without reason is reckless. Desire without either is chaos. But together, they can form a unified whole, a soul that lives with purpose, power, and peace. In a world ruled by impulse, Plato's message is revolutionary. The highest power is not control over others, but control over oneself. Conclusion: the harmony. Within. At its heart, Plato's tripartite soul is a call to inner harmony. It tells us that happiness doesn't come from external success, but from internal order. When reason governs, spirit obeys, and appetite finds its rightful place. We live in tune with our higher nature. Over 2 millennia later, the question remains: who rules your soul? Is it the voice of wisdom or the clamor of desire? Every day, that ancient chariot still races within us. And like Plato's charioteer, we must hold the reins, steady, aware, striving always toward the light of truth. If you found this exploration insightful, give this video a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe to Timeless Questions channel for more deep dives into philosophy, history, and human nature. Because the questions may be ancient, but the wisdom is timeless.